Hello, everybody. I am back with my podcast number two. Um, I am going to do Everyday Warriors. I'd like to explain kind of what I'm going to do to begin with. My explanation basically is I'm going to give you a few of what society deems warriors and what their definition of it is, as well as I'm going to give you my opinion. God help us. Um, the definition of a warrior, according to what I pulled off of line, which is, the Merriam-Webster and all of that, they have it as a warrior being a noun. The first definition they gave was, especially in former times, as a brave or an experienced soldier or fighter. The second definition they gave is a person who's engaged or experienced in warfare, broadly meaning a person engaged in some struggle or conflict. An example I'd like to give that just kind of stood out to me when I was going through and doing all my research for this is for Japanese warriors, self-disembowelment was not a forlorn act, but a way to regain their honor. This is, according to The Economist, a grimly compelling study of the psychology and fanaticism. It was done on July 13th, 2019. And it was very interesting to me because in Japanese culture, and I asked my son about it, who's pretty familiar with the Japanese culture, that, it just self-disembowelment, first of all, it's a pretty severe thing to do. But to do it and not think that it's, anything, bad, but that's the way that you get back your honor was like, it was pretty telling to me, the lengths that people will go to when they feel like they've been dishonored or they feel dishonored and they want to regain their honor back. When I was going through, I found 25 of the greatest warriors. It was something that was done by Theodorus II on a website called List 25. I want to make sure that I give, proper, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for, the people that have done this, that make sure that it's noted. Alaric Viskov is the 25th one they gave. I'm not going to go through the whole 25. I thought I was going to, but I decided not to. There were a few of these. Just noted that there was 25 of the greatest warriors. And one of them, number 22, is what it was called Prince Rupert of the Rhine. At age 14, he joined the military, went on to have a few diverse, colorful career. Although most known for commanding the Royal Cavalry in the English Civil War, there's another one I was talking to my son about. Well, of course, there's William Wallace. Everybody knows who that one is. But Attila the Hun, everybody knows him. I didn't really know that he was born. I knew he was born in Hungary, and he became one of the most violent and merciless rulers of the area. I didn't know that he was notorious for a fierce gaze, and according to the historian Edward Gibbon, that he frequently rolled his eyes as if in pleasure at the terror that he inspired in others. I thought that was different. There was another one that really just got, well, of course, there's Dracula. They have his number 13. Spartacus, everybody knows. They all know Richard Lionheart and all of that. But there's one, and I hope, God forgive me if I say these names wrong. It is Zhao Dun. It is spelled Xiahou, and the next name is Dun. He offered his service as a military general to warlord Cao Cao, in the late Eastern Han Dynasty, and became a legend when during a battle he was hit by a straight arrow and he lost his left eye. Now, anybody that would have, normal would have stopped, and that would have been the end of it. No, he pulls the arrow out of his eyeball, and swallowed his own eyeball. And now from that point on, everybody thought of, they thought of him in great fear and named him across China as the Blind Zhao, the one-eyed warrior. That to itself is just phenomenally amazing to me. The other one is, I already told you about Richard Lionheart. I was talking to my son about this one. Miyamoto Musashi. Like I said, I'm not even knowing if I'm doing these pronunciations correctly, but I'm sure somebody will let me know. But he was a skillful Japanese swordsman, an invincible Ronin, I think is what my son said, Ronin. It's a samurai without a lord or a master, so he pretty much was on his own. He became a legend because of his remarkable swordsmanship and numerous duels from the age of 13. He's the founder of Hayo Nitin Ichi Ryu, or Nitin Ryu style of swordsmanship. Later in life, he perfected his two swords fighting style and ascended to a mountain and wrote a definitive treatise on the Zen of decapitation, which he titled A Body of Five Rings. Many historians consider him the greatest swordsman who ever lived. That is crazy. And there's more, like Leonidas, we know who he is, Julius Caesar, we're aware of him, Genghis Khan, and Alexander the Great. I'm not going to go through them all, but those were some who the historians have said are the 25 greatest warriors of all time. Now, history has shown that warriors must possess a certain quality or certain qualities, etc., no matter what part of the world they're from. They could be from China, they can be from Russia, they can be from Transylvania, and they can be from the United States of America. But no matter what, they have to exude fearlessness, like courage like no other, strength of their mind, their body, and strength of character, intelligence, and ability to lead. You have to have an ability to lead, persistence, and most of all, brass balls. They must have some balls the size of my head, to be honest. My personal opinion is anyone who's willing to stare their demons in the eye and tell them to go fuck themselves is a warrior. Anyone who makes a daily decision to be better than they were the day before is a warrior as well. I got a whole list here, so just bear with me. Anyone who keeps getting their teeth kicked in and yet refuses to change who they are as a person and their character is a warrior. Anyone dealing with mental illness and fighting to keep their head above water, even when they feel like they're drowning, is a warrior. Anyone who is an addict, whether you are in your addiction and actively an addict and you want to recover and you choose recovery, you're a warrior. And being an addict and choosing recovery, that was one of the hardest things I ever did. Anyone who's living with an invisible illness and who struggles through the pain and the misunderstandings of everyone else around you because they can't see it or because they think you're faking or whatever, for whatever reason, you're a warrior too. Anyone dealing with suicide, whether it's in thought or with actions, and they survive another minute, another second, another day, you're a warrior. And anyone who is a survivor of abuse, sexual, physical, emotional, or anything in between, you're a warrior. And anyone who grew up feeling unloved and unwanted and being mistreated, abused, or thrown away by the ones who were supposed to love and protect you, you're a warrior. Anyone still scared to be who they are because of the fear of rejection, whether they're gay, bisexual, pansexual, transgender, or any other LGBT-related label, you are a warrior. Anyone fighting cancer, HIV, hepatitis, or any other disease, and you're still alive, you're a warrior. Anyone who were children or loved ones of addicts or alcoholics, and you're a productive, functioning part of society today, regardless of the scars that were left behind by the people that were supposed to love you too, and they weren't able to for whatever reason, you are a warrior too. Now, if I've left anybody out, it's not intentional. It's just I couldn't think of it. I want to give us personal history of myself. People say that I inspire them, and I'm just me. And I just hope that something that I've been through has helped or will help someone to not have to go through it on down the line. My mother was a junkie and a whore. My father was a dope dealer. Now, that's how they began. That's what the majority of my younger life was. I didn't know them later in life, or from what I understand, that didn't much change except that they were more productive citizens in society. They were able to hold down jobs. And then, when they weren't, they formed their own company, in the instance of my father. But my mother was 16 when she had, or 17 when she had me, and my dad was 18. And they were children raising children in the 70s. So that itself was a whole different thing. I never felt like I was wanted or loved. I always felt like I was from another planet, pretty much. I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. I didn't feel like anybody wanted me, and kind of felt like there was a mark on me, kind of like in the Scarlet Letter, like that. Okay, that it was okay to abuse me, or whatever. That the pedophiles saw me, that the people, that whomever, that I was. That's how they knew to abuse me. There had to be something wrong with me. And then later on in life, of course, I faced my demons. I was an addict until almost 2 years ago when I made a decision reluctantly, and then it's lasted since then. That was not going to be who I was or define me, and I did not need that to be a part of my life any longer. And I decided to break the cycle that has been a part of my family for as long as I can remember. Um, I was abused by my father. I was abused by my step grandfather and my three uncles when I started from the age of 5 until the age of 15. And then I've been raped more times than I can remember. I've been kidnapped. Just about anything that can happen to a person without them actually being shot has happened to me. Um, I've been to prison 3 times. I've been to prison boot camp once. I was a horrible mother. I have a 24-year-old, a 22-year-old, and a 20-year-old. My oldest two are my 2 daughters. One I gave up for adoption when I was 16. My other daughter was taken from me when she was 9 months old. And I raised my son, but um, yeah, I guess you could call it that. But for most of the part, it was he went back and forth between his father and me, and I'm quite certain that it didn't help in any way for him in any good way. I wish I could go back and make changes, and I wish my children came with a manual. And if I did, I wish I would have read it. But none of that happened. Everything happened for a reason. Today, I don't do drugs. I strive to be better than I was yesterday. I try not to let anything change who I am as a person. I try to be a better person, and I try to be the better person in every situation. I'm dealing with a whole lot of things that, 2 years ago, I would have turned to drugs or just given up and said, fuck it. I'm a better person today, and I'm very grateful for that. I have hopes and aspirations. I'd like to be a motivational speaker. I'd like to be some sort of a life coach of sorts. I'm not certain exactly what way where I'm going to head, where that's at. It's been on my heart to do something like this, and to either to do it as in like a teaching format, or in some way to get this out there and off my chest. I hope that this has helped somebody. And if you'd like to hear more about this, and for me to expand on this, I know this is not a very long session. And the reason it isn't is I'm just kind of trying to test some waters and see how people feel about this. If you'd like for me to do like a teaching session, or even a 5-part series or something like that, then let me know. I'm going to end this by saying there is a warrior in every single one of us. You didn't get to where you are today by being weak. And if you feel like you're weak, as long as you have breath in you, there's always room for an improvement. Life isn't about, being 100%. It's about giving 100% and being the best version of who you are every single day. And then maybe tomorrow you can improve on that version, and so on and so on. Nobody is perfect in this world. If they are, they're lying to you, and they're lying to themselves, and they're fucking delusional, to be honest with you. I'm going to give you a few quotations, and then I'm going to end this. Some quotes that really inspire me, and I've actually written them down into my book. One of them is warrior, watch me. I will go to my own son. Let me start this over. Warrior, watch me. I will go to my own sun, and if I am burned by its fire, I will fly on scorched wings, by Segovia Emil. There's another one. She's a badass with a good heart, soft